Okay, here's the situation. Lawan Curry here,
Tara Curry here.
and hashtag CurrysRComing. We want to make sure you guys know that we are a new couple on the scene. Been married for going on 3 years, known each other for about 8. And we are looking forward to helping educate the populace out there, making sure we let couples know on the first and forefront that you guys are blessed. Under the power of God, you guys are the most complete vessel that we have on this earth as a true representation of His word. So let's continue to spread that amongst each other, lift each other up, build each other up. And build, guys, is an acronym. It's a word that stands for bring up in large divisions, right? Build. And that's what we're going to do here as we continue on with our topics given to us by our people out there. This is one actually is a pretty new topic. This is something that we have talked about as a couple, and we think it works. Yeah. And so we want to spell that out to you. And it's called the sweet spot. Every couple should have one. And if you don't, you better get one. So what is it? What's the sweet spot? What's your definition of a sweet spot, sweetheart?
The definition of a sweet spot in a marriage is, for me, I would call it that your reason, right? The reason for being together, that thing that pulled you together, that keeps you wanting to continue to be with one another. It could be the thing that draws your heart to Him. It could be the thing that makes you keep loving Him every day and wanting to love Him and falling in love with Him every day. But it's that place that you're always going to work towards in your marriage so that you can stay together.
Yeah. In previous blogs, we talked about being a gift or being the present for your spouse. This is a perfect example of it. So if my wife and I are in situations, if your spouse and you are in situations where you're going a little bit down, every relationship has its up and downs, and you feel like you're kind of on a down curve. It could be during the day, it could be during the hour, it could be during the month, right? But what do you do to get back to that point of happiness, that point of contentness?
Yeah, that sweet spot.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah, and when I even think about the sweet spot more, it's like sometimes in your marriage, you got to work hard to get back to that sweet spot. As Lawan was saying, it's not always just going to be level, right? It's not always going to be in a high place either, right? But no matter where you're at in your marriage, whether it's you're going through a season that it's really hard or you guys are just really getting along really good, you want to always be working back to that place. Lawan always gives this analogy about the married couple is in the boat, right? And you both are in this boat looking at the land way far ahead of you. And what do you have to do in that boat to make sure that you get to that land, to get to that destination? That destination is your sweet spot. And there's going to be times when, maybe I'm working harder than him because he's tired. Right? Or he's going through something, or it's just, life.
Or we got to communicate, right? Or one of us has to talk about, and be that spokesperson, be the cheerleader, on that vessel to get us across. One person may have to do more work. It's a perfect example, but the objective is to keep you guys winning, right? So to get back on that island so that you guys can keep moving as a couple. So, and for guys, just real quickly, just so you know, the sweet spot is how you get out of trouble. Just throwing it at you, fellas. These are the situations where you're like, you know what? Let me go get some flowers. My sweetheart likes flowers. My sweetheart likes dinner. My sweetheart likes going for walks. My sweetheart likes, educating the masses and doing something together. Hey! My sweetheart likes, candy. Right? We talked about candy in previous episodes in terms of which one would you get for your spouse? Would you get it for yourself? Or would you get it for her? So these are sweet spot moments that you can conjure up yourself. Now, once again, if you're in a situation in which you guys are plateauing, you guys know you're in a good moment.
Yeah.
right? And so continue that by identifying and talking about your sweet spots during those times of emotional goodness. I call them, because sometimes you're just not going to be on the same level, and so emotionally. I mean, and I'm talking about a man period too, because men go through them as well emotionally, and so we have to watch our own selves and figure out, are we going to just sit in the boat and talk a little bit to make sure she has the direction, and you can stroke a little bit to make sure that you guys get to where you need to, but how are you going to get there? So the sweet spot is very important, I think, in every single couple. I think even for the most part, it's, if you're already together, the sweet spot has been a part of your life without you even knowing it. So, for example, whether it be church, whether it be going to a sporting event like a Celtics game, for example, whether it be at work, whether it be at Bible study, whether it be at the park walking your dog, where you guys met, is what I'm talking about. That generally is a sweet spot. Now, for the sake of it, it could be even at a bar, at a restaurant, going out and having a drink or something like that. That could be a sweet spot moment for couples. So without overindulging, right, and things like that. So these are little pivotal moments that you have to think about as you're coupling and as you're moving forward to kind of keep the fire lit. Even us going on 3 years, I think for couples, and I give kudos and praises due to all couples past 4 or 5 years and still stretching on and beyond that, because you've managed, hopefully, to sustain that by continuing to have a sweet spot, not getting mundane, not falling back, not being comfortable with the uncomfortable, in the sense of not wanting to find solutions because you're used to each other and you're going to make amends anyway, but actually putting in a conscious effort to make sure that that sweet spot is found.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that as a couple, you want to be in agreement that you're going to work towards the sweet spot always, right? Because when it does get hard sometimes, or when it's just challenging, because it's work to be in a relationship, and so you have to both sit down. I would say sit down and have the conversation about this sweet spot, identify the sweet spot, so you both are looking at the same destination, because we don't want my sweet spot to be over here and his to be over there. Then we're not going in the same direction. But identify that we work hard towards this. That sweet spot is what brought you together. That sweet spot is why you're still together today, because there's still something connected with you. But I would encourage you to have the conversation about it and both be in agreement that you will continue to work towards that. That when it is those rough moments or those challenging times, that you will still work towards it. And I say that because if one of us stops working, then the marriage stops working.
Right. Someone has to keep rowing, in other words.
Yeah.
Right. So if even there's another great, I guess it's kind of an idea of what marriage is, right? It's two people moving a couch up an apartment building stairway, where it's almost an endless stairway. And sometimes, you have the heavy end. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have the light end. But the objective is, in coupling and partnering and being together, is you gotta keep moving. You have to keep moving the couch. That's important. So as my wife said, if you don't have a sweet spot, find one and let us know what it is. We want to know, and it's important for us to even digitally brainstorm this, if you will. So throw it in the comments. Tell us what your sweet spot is. It's important for us to share it amongst each other, and we want you guys to vibe off of it as well. And I think that we can all learn from each other, more importantly. So one of our sweet spots, obviously, is cooking and having dinner together.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and it sounds simple, right? I happen to be the chef. She cooks too, but she makes some amazing sides.
Okay.
So no, but when we really want to get jiggy, we cook together. That's a sweet spot for us, right? That's a content moment for us as a couple. So we just wanted to share that. And as we move forward, the next blog is going to be about love language. And the reason why that is because it suits perfectly with this blog here. Because if you're not identified with a love language, then you could struggle with finding a sweet spot. Especially as we grow up as adults, we grow into new evolution in our own relationships. And we get into our own routine. And sometimes we can forget, we can be passive.
Yeah.
And so, as my wife said, continue to be intentional.
Yes.
And find your sweet spot.
Find your sweet spot. We lost our light. Excuse us about that, but yeah, definitely just keep working towards that. Your sweet spot is what's going to keep you to moving forward, moving the couch, getting to that place where you're connected back together again. Because you know it's work. It takes work to be together. It takes work to build the marriage and stay committed to each other and connected. And as we said, you know, when you're in the boat and you're both trying to get to that destination, which is the sweet spot, what are you doing to get there? How are you going to work together in that boat to row to get to that sweet spot? How are you going to do that together? Because it can't be just one of you. It has to be done together.
Absolutely. So that's your homework assignment. Or your homework activity is that find that sweet spot. Let us know about it because the hashtag Currys are coming.
We're coming, and we're coming for your marriage. We're coming for your parenting. We're coming for your relationships, and we're coming for your soul care.
Coming for your soul care.
Because we want to make sure that God is the center of all of it. So take care of yourselves. Be good.
Peace.